Council, come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mandy, could you please call the roll?
Young.
Here.
Randall. Here. Butler.
Here.
Carlstone.
Here.
Hopkins.
Here.
Dan Stryland.
Here. City Council has adopted the Code of Civility. As elected officials, we pledge to promote civility through extending respect to others, listening to understand, disagreeing without disrespect, engaging collaboratively, and speaking up to address incivility. And as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and broadcast for Pella TV, so anyone who wishes to speak to council, please approach that microphone at the podium before speak so that those listening at home can hear you and can see you on the camera. Can I get a motion for approval of the tentative agenda?
So support.
Carlstone, Van Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall. Yes. Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. I would like to reappoint Matt Hutchison to the Airport Committee. He has served on the committee since 2019 and attended all meetings held during that term. If approved, Matt's new 6-year term would expire on January 1 of 2031. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Brandon Horst DeYoung, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Randall. Yes. DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Motion passed. I would like to reappoint Joe Canfield to the Planning and Zoning Commission. He has served on the commission since 2017 and attended 41 of the 53 meetings held during his most recent term. If approved, Joe's new 5-year term would expire on May 1, 2030. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Brandon Horst, Carlstone. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Randall. Yes. Carlstone.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. I would like to reappoint Kathy Houstein to the Planning and Zoning Commission. She has served on the commission since 2015 and attended 41 of the 53 meetings held during her most recent term. If approved, Kathy's new 5-year term would expire on May 1, 2030. Can I get a motion for approval?
So.
Van Stryland, Carlstone, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall. Abstain. Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. I would like to reappoint Bob Smith to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Bob has served on this commission since 2023 and from 2001 to 2016. He attended 17 of the 21 meetings held during his term. If approved, Bob's new term would expire on May 1, 2030. Can I get a motion for approval?
So. Support.
Carlstone and Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall. Yes. Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. I would like to reappoint Julio Chirella to the Building Code Board of Appeals. Julio has served on the board since 2007. No meetings were held during his most recent term. If approved, Julio's new term would expire August 1 of 2029. Can I get a motion for approval?
So. Support.
Carlstone and Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall. Yes. Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. I would like to reappoint Jim Corbett to the Building Code Board of Appeals. Jim has served on the board since 2009. No meetings were held during his most recent term. If approved, Jim's new term would expire August 1 of 2027. Can I get a motion for approval?
So. Support.
Carl Stone, Van Strylen. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carl Stone,
Yes.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Hawkins.
yes,
Motion passed. I would like to appoint Mark Richards to the Building Code Board of Appeal. If approved, Mark's term will expire August 1st, 2026. Can I get a motion for approval?
Support.
Carl Stone, Van Strylen. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carl Stone,
Yes.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Hawkins.
yes,
Motion passed. This time we have an opportunity for a public forum. Anyone wishing to address council regarding any agenda item, please step forward to that microphone, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we will move on. Can I get a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved. Support.
Van Strylen, was that Butler or Carl? Carl Stone. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
Carl Stone,
Yes.
Hawkins,
yes,
DeYoung,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, we'll move to a public hearing on soccer complex improvements project bids. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. For those in attendance and those watching at home on Pella Fiber, I'd like to direct your attention to the big board for a presentation on this item. As Mayor DeWard stated, tonight's public hearing is on proposed improvements that we have at the city soccer complex. And this mainly consists of replacing the irrigation system for the soccer complex. But we do have a description up on the board of the base project bid as well. It's important to note that we did have an alternate for this project, which is basically to repair some erosion damage that we had that abuts the parking lot at the ground soccer complex as well. It's also pictured up on the big board. Mandy, let's go ahead, please. Now, we held a recent bid letting on this project, and as you can see, the bids for the project, we had 2 bidders, and they ranged from $733,000 all the way up to $973,000. The engineer's estimated cost for this project was just over $726,000. Now, it is important to note as we consider our options this evening, we do not believe by rebidding the project would result in a lower bid cost than what we have this evening that we're considering this evening. So after evaluating the bids, the project engineer on this project, which is Snyder and Associates, is recommending awarding the contract to Iowa Sports Turf Management, which is the lowest responsible bidder for this project in the amount of $733,323.30. Now, if council were to proceed with this project, the final completion, that means everything's all done with the project, is on July 30th of next year. We'll hopefully have substantial completion before then. And we're also planning on reopening the complex if its final completion is then, the complex would be reopened by the fall of 2026. But depending on how the project goes, there's a possibility it may be open sooner than that as well. So let's go ahead, please, Mandy. Now, as far as the alternate is concerned, what we have up here is just a brief summary of this project as it is compared to the city's budget for the project. Overall, the project's budget was $700,000. When we look at the base bid, along with the alternates, along with the engineering fees, we're at just over shy of $808,000. And we're roughly $108,000 over the budgeted amount if we were to proceed with the alternate as well. The funding source for this project is a general obligation bond. So if council were to proceed with the alternate this evening, what that would simply mean is if we would need on this, there would be a higher debt service levy in the future, which may necessitate a tax rate increase in the future. We don't know that yet, but a higher bond amount would mean a higher debt service levy, which means a greater potential for increasing the city's debt service levy in the future. So with that, we are recommending proceeding with the project this evening, and we are recommending considering an alternate one to add to the project as well, Mr. Mayor. And I believe that concludes the staff presentation. Be more than happy to answer any questions the council may have on this item.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I believe we did get one written comment.
Yep, that was the only one.
Okay. Council comments?
I won't stand in the way of the project, but I struggle with spending that much on one athletic field.
are we repairing more than one athletic field out there? There's a bunch of soccer fields out there.
I'd like to refer that question back to Kevin Goss, please.
Yes, there are approximately 10 acres of fields that we will be repairing, so it's not just one soccer field. We usually average around 10 fields in that whole space, varying size, so we're gonna redo all of that. That would be included in this project.
So that's kind of misleading, it's not just a competition field.
That is correct. So there is what we call, there's an east field, competition field, and the west field area. All that is included.
Remind me, does this include improving the crowning of those large fields especially? Or is?
Yes, it does.
Is the technology the same? We have to have that kind of crown for it?
Currently, there's approximately 3% crown on there, give or take a little bit, and we're trying to reduce it down to 1.5%.
So you could potentially see the ball on the other side of the field.
You'll be able to see it a lot better.
What's our estimated lifespan of this investment?
It's a good question.
And we haven't spent significant dollars out here in how long?
Not this amount of dollars since it opened in '93, so you're looking at approximately the same 30-year period.
Well, we're past.
Well, we're past that,
So maybe,
Yeah.
maybe 15 to 20-ish.
And the irrigation system, the main standard industry lifespan is between 20 to 25 years, just depending on variety of things. So, you know, that was one of the problems that we had out there was the irrigation system, and then we couldn't water. Then we've gone into 2+ years of some below average rainfall. So then the quality started decreasing, we couldn't keep up. So as long as the irrigation system's going and we have the adequate budget, then we can maintain the fields.
Does this replace the irrigation system with a new one totally?
Yes, Mayor, it replaces totally from the irrigation pump by the pond all the way through the main line and everything on all the fields.
Well, that certainly will help the longevity of the grass and everything, having that working properly.
Yep, that is correct.
Anything else, council?
Just one more question. Somewhere in here I saw that alternate one was removing all the gravel from the parking lot and then putting some kind of barrier.
What that consists of is in the northeast corner of the parking lot, right there on the picture. It's kind of as you come in the entrance and it curves around, and then you can kind of split to go left or right. It's just that corner area. I don't have specific square feet in my mind right now, but it's not the whole parking lot by no means. It's just kind of repairing that 50, 75 foot square, area there, maybe a little bit more, give or take. And then putting a geogrid material underneath there to try to help slow that. Everything drains into that corner. And then it ends up going down towards the pond, and then we end up starting to fill the pond. And it's, so we're trying to correct that. And especially if we are not going to be paving the parking lot, anytime soon. It's considered a hazard area as far as vehicles are concerned.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else, council? A member of the public have a comment? If so, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
DeYoung, Randerhorst, any discussion? All in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to resolution number 6838, entitled Resolution Approving Plan Specifications, Form of Contract, Estimate of Costs, Receiving of Bids, and Making Award of Contract for the Soccer Complex Improvements Projects. I assume nothing to add.
No, sir.
Can I get a motion for approval?
Support.
Carl Stone, Brander Horst.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor,
sorry.
actually, we do have one item to add.
Oh.
This is, if we're going to add the alternate, I believe we'll need to amend the resolution. Is that correct, Mandy?
Yes, so the motion would need to be if we're doing just the base bid or the base plus the alternate.
Oh, okay.
So I'll move for base plus alternates.
I'll second that.
Carl Stone, Butler on the amendment, or the base plus the alternate is what the vote is. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes, opposed no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Van Strylen?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Reindeerhorst? Yes.
Motion passed.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd just make the comment that the overrun on this budget could be compensated for by the underrun on the church teardown budget. We saved a lot of money there.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to resolution number 6839, entitled Resolution Approving Construction Contract Bond for Pella Indoor Recreation and Aquatic Center. Mike?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the big board for a very brief presentation on this item. As Mayor DeWard stated, what this resolution does is awards the construction contract as well as approves the performance bond with stall for the Pella Indoor Recreation Center project. It is important to note on April 15th of this year, Council did award the construction contract to stall in the amount of $29,969,000. And we do have a description of the project up here. Maybe a little easier just to show the floor layout plan that we have in the rec center. So what the project does include is 4 gymnasiums. We also have the indoor recreation pool as well as the competition swimming pool. The upper level consists of a walking track along with a large workout area as well. The overall project in scope is roughly 78,000 square feet. So Mandy, if we can go back to the original slide, please. It's important to note that if council approves the resolution, the substantial completion date for the project is on May 13th of 2027. And finally, we'd like to point out that the city attorney has reviewed both the construction contract as well as the performance as well as the associated bonds that we're considering this evening. So with that, Mr. Mayor, that concludes the staff presentation on this item. I'd be happy to answer any questions council may have.
All right, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So.
Carl Stone and DeYoung. Any discussion?
Are there any penalties involved for late opening?
Yes. Yeah, and my city attorney did correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's $1,500 a day for every day past substantial completion.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll vote on the motion. All in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Carlstone?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Reindeerhorst? Yes. Butler?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Van Strylen?
Yes.
Moving on, resolution number 6840, entitled Resolution Approving Change Order Number 1, Final Quantity Adjustment and Miscellaneous Items and Accepting the Public Improvements for the Union Street Improvements Project. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. As Mayor DeWard stated, what we're considering this evening is accepting the public improvements for the Union Street reconstruction project, as well as we have a final quantities adjustment this evening. So, explaining this project involved the total reconstruction of Union Street between East 3rd Street and Morningside Drive, and it's this orange highlighted area that you see up here on the big board. We started off with an original construction contract of $485,758. Change order number 1 is just a final quantities adjustment. So what we're simply doing is reconciling between what the contractor did as far as the materials for the project and what was actually placed in the ground. But we have an addition of roughly $4,600. Now, if council were to approve this resolution this evening, we'd end up with a final contract amount of $490,360.50. And we are recommending approval this evening, Mr. Mayor. And with that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions the mayor and council may have on this project.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Brander Horst, Carl Stone. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Reindeerhorst? Yes. Carlstone?
Yes.
Hopkins? Hopkins?
We lost him.
Van Strylen?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on, resolution number 6841, entitled Resolution Authorizing Staff to Submit a Grant to the Iowa Department of Transportation. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as Mayor Ward stated, what this resolution does is authorizes staff to submit a grant application to the Iowa Department of Transportation for the expansion of the apron at the Pella Municipal Airport. It is important to note in the month of May, we will be discussing in May and June airport-related items. The apron expansion is one of the projects we will be discussing, so there'll be more details coming forth here within the next 30 days. But on this project, once again, what we're simply seeking is permission to submit the grant application to Iowa DOT. The grant applications are due on May 15th of this year. Now, as far as the proposed expansion of the apron, we have it shown up here along with the proposed hangar addition at the Pella Municipal Airport. The total estimated cost for the apron expansion is just over $609,000, and that's the paving portion only of the project. With this project and the grant application, the grant amount to the DOT would just be shy of $366,000, so it'd be about 60% of the paving cost of the apron expansion. The city's local match would be just shy of $244,000. And we'll be verifying with the Iowa DOT that if the project proceeds on this and is approved by the City Council, that we do have sufficient funds to fund the city's local match with it. So we are recommending approval of the resolution this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Mr. Arlen Carlstone, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Mr. Island?
Yes.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Ravenhurst?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Motion passed. Can I get a motion for approval of the bill claims? I don't have a number. Normally I have a number.
Move to approve and issue warrants.
Brander Horst.
Second.
DeYoung, any discussion or questions?
Is all the Bowman Grot work been completed? There was some concrete work and so on, bills that have been paid down there.
As far as the Bowling Grot, Ryan, as far as the bills that have been paid, is our one repair that we discussed this spring. We have not initiated that yet, so that plaza repair has not been initiated yet.
Okay.
So,
I saw some Bowman Grot, concrete work, but that was not down the basement.
no, what the Bowling Grot concrete work was, I believe we had some bricks and some curb hazards that we were fixing at Bowling Grot. That's an annual basis. We're out there repairing issues in Bowling Grot. So what we talked about this spring, as far as the issues with the plaza, that will be scheduled later this summer.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Ravenhurst?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Mr. Island?
Yes.
Motion passed. Any council member have any other business you'd like to have addressed this evening? Any member of the public have any other business you'd like to address the council with this evening? If so, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Arvin Vanzani, 1117 Big Rock Park Road. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Friends of the Pella Community Center. I'm assuming this is the right time to make these comments. I'd like to start off by raising this microphone.
There you go.
I'd like to start off by thanking the council for your patience and your long support for this project. Mark and Lynn can attest to how long we've been doing this, but we see light, and we're glad to see that. John Bloom from Sherman Associates will be up here to present to you an updated plan for what we call the base plan that includes the new elevator, but lists the stairwell as an alternate add-on. The Friends have looked at this and we fully support it. We support it because, one, it addresses safety and access issues that were not addressed in the original base plan. The new elevator will be full size, it'll be able to handle a gurney, it'll provide access to all 4 floors of the building, and it will allow us to have that front entrance on the south side now instead of coming from up the alley on the east side. Second, it provides a plan that easily moves from the base plan to the full plan, much like the rec center with its starting off with 2 gyms, adding more gyms, adding another pool. The original base plan did not fit well with the full plan. This provides a much better solution. So it's a little more money, but we think it's a great way to move forward. Now, don't get me wrong, we're still pushing for the full plan because we think the full plan is the right solution, but this is a solution that gets us much closer and allows parts of that to be done as subsequent fundraising, kitchen equipment, furniture, things like that. So thank you again for your support, and we're looking forward to hearing what John has to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight Young, 2509 Scotty Strat. I noticed that occasionally we have members that are not present in the council meeting, and sometimes then that they vote, sometimes they don't. This concerns me that they're not here to get the full impact of the discussions and such. What rule allows them to vote when they're not present?
Sounds like a great question for our attorney who's present.
I don't know that I can say the specific code section that allows it, but there is law that allows members to participate electronically. Like, they're allowed to.
Well,
The legislature, that's the best I can tell you.
State law.
Yeah, yeah.
well, I hope that they're fully informed, and it's good if they're here because they can interact with the public and such, and I really appreciate their attendance. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Rhonda Road, 510 Broadway Street. Several months ago, a young man, Aiden Brand, made a really good presentation to council for handicap parking spaces. And I just wanted to bring that up again. I think it's important. I have a family member who is in a wheelchair now sometimes, getting better, but it's really, really hard, and I feel not quite safe. Sometimes you have to get her out of the car, between two cars, and then you have to wheel her around the back of a car, and I'm always kind of worried about traffic and so forth. So I thought his presentation was really well done, and I hope that we consider that in the future. I think it's an important decision to make. Thanks.
Leanne Hessing, 512 Lincoln Street. And I just have a couple questions. One, the section of Lincoln Street that I live on, I've heard that it's to be dug up this year and the sewer and water replaced, but I've not heard anything official. And I was just wondering if there's a start date for that. And then also, my local park, Rotary Park, which is just 2 blocks from my house. Over a year ago, the swings were taken out for the bigger kids. The frame is still there and the baby swings, but those bigger swings are not there. And I appreciate the city's support of the rec center and the soccer field, but not everybody's gonna use those. My daughter has severe social anxiety. She will not ever use those. But when there were still the swings at the Rotary Park, she would go when the park was not busy and swing for 45 minutes to an hour. And she hasn't been able to do that for over a year. So I'm just wondering if there's any plan for those swings to get replaced. Thank you.
Well, normally I would defer to Danny on the street. Danny retired a week ago, so I can't ask him. But I think we do, I think it is scheduled sometime. I don't know.
Yeah, as far as the Lincoln Street reconstruction, there's a good chance that maybe on our May 28th agenda, setting the council proceedings. So that will mean the public hearing date will likely be in June of this year. That project is planned for this year. And if Ms. Hessing would give me a number, I'll follow back up with swings at Rotary Park after the meeting. So,
Thank you.
I think Rotary might
Master plan for
Yeah,
the
I
Rotary
think-
Park?
what's that?
Don't the Rotarians have a master plan for the park?
Does anybody here from Bob? Because I was thinking Rotary had a plan too.
Yeah, Rotary Park, they actually have a list of probably half a dozen improvements we want to make, including the playground equipment. Now, we're in the process of working through it now after getting tulip time in our rearview mirror, sitting down with Chandler and making sure we have an agreement on things, what the priority is for them. We've actually created a nonprofit part of Rotary to actually begin fundraising for that, and we just need to decide how big a chunk we're going to bite off, but certainly improving and fixing the playground equipment is a very important part of it from our perspective. So I would guess it's going to take us a couple months to get that nailed down with any specifics.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I was able to locate that code section for you, sir. It's 21.8 Iowa code.
Yes, you can't vote in Congress unless you're present.
I understand.
Okay, we'll move into policy and planning. First item is to discuss the community center renovation project. Get an update.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and once again, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the big board for a presentation on this item. We do have Mr. John Bloom, who's our lead architect from Sherman Associates on the project this evening. John will be walking us through the design, actually the new elevations for the community center, as well as talking about the base bid components, as well as the floor plans for the building. So I won't spend a lot of time on those items. Those were included in the council packet. But I do just want to briefly go over the financial aspects for the city of Pella for the project. Overall, when we look at the project and we look at the base bid, that includes complete renovation for the facility, as well as what we would call an upgraded elevator and or enhanced elevator addition for the building as well. The base bid for the project is right at $7,785,000, and we do have a couple alternates here that John's going to be explaining this evening. We have an alternate for a stairwell addition to the building, as well as an alternate for kitchen and furniture equipment. Now, when we look at the base bid without the deductions on the project, we're looking at $7,846,000. So with some of these items, they'll be further defined this summer as far as the base bid and alternate bids on the project, but roughly they're not going to change a whole lot from these items that we see up here. Now, Mandy, let's go ahead and briefly walk through these. I don't want to be talking a lot, but John's going to be spending some time talking about these diagrams or elevations that we have here. But again, what you see up here is the base bid for the project. So we have the building right here. The base bid also includes the enhanced elevator addition that will provide access to all the floors in the community center. And this is the stairwell alternate that we have here as well. Now, it is important to note the project includes everything on the exterior that you see as well here, including this plaza area as well as the outside addition as well for the project. So Mandy, let's go ahead, please. Now the floor plans, I'll leave this for John to walk the council through it as well. But again, we will have enhanced access through the building throughout this project. Now, one of the items that we would like to spend some time on before we turn the floor over to John is, let's go ahead, please, Mandy. Is talking about the time frame for the project. This is what we're really here to talk about this evening on here. Is if we proceed and give John authorization, and specifically our next step is to finalize the bid packages for this project and seek bids for this project on it. We anticipate that if we get to go ahead to start on this project, we'll be looking and soliciting construction bids for the project in November of this year. If we look at starting and seeking bids in November of this year, we would also probably terminate the current leases and activities in the buildings by December 31st of this year. So all activities at the community center would cease. It's likely that a construction contract for the building would be considered by the City Council in January of 2026. If Council were to approve it with a construction contract, we would begin the project renovation in March of 2026. And it actually be completed in 2027 as far as the tentative completion date for the project. We just want to make sure Council is aware of the time frame for this project. Now, Mandy, I know I'm kind of jumping around here, so please keep that in mind as we look at this. As the next step, this is the construction documents and construction bids, and that's what we're here to seek guidance on this evening. So we want to make sure we're absolutely clear on what's included in the base bid, what is bid as alternates. If there's any questions from the floor plan, please feel free to ask any questions that you may have on this as well. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit, Mandy, for that first slide that we have up here as well. If we can go back one more to the financial slide. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't state, we spent a lot of time talking about the rec center and the contracts with the rec center. And I would also like to say the same principles apply for the community center. First and foremost, the Friends of the Community Center have done an outstanding job raising funds for this project. They've raised a significant amount of money for this project. And for this project to proceed, one of the necessary items is going to be a contract with the Friends of the Community Center. We anticipate the contract is going to be very similar to what we approved with Pella Rec for the Recreation Center. And through that contract, we not only had a financial contribution for the project, but also Pella Rec actually financed the outstanding pledges for the project as well. We anticipate that's going to be needed by the Friends for this project as well. And if you look at the city's financial commitment, historically for the community center, we've been in the neighborhood of about $5.5 million for this project. As you can see, the estimated costs are about $2.3 to $2.4 million above and beyond this. So that contract with the Friends of the Community Center is going to be necessary for this project to proceed. And so that's something we anticipate similar to what we did with the rec center, as we'll be working on that contract as the project proceeds, while we also nail down the engineering and firm up this project to be able to see construction bids for the project. So with that, Mr. Mayor, that concludes the staff presentation. Is there any questions for staff before we turn the floor over to Mr. John Bloom?
Doesn't appear so.
Okay, all right.
Is there a highlighter up here, the clicker up here, so I can point it there?
You can borrow mine if you like.
Okay.
I should throw it up right here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to give a brief overview of my history and experience with this project. I've worked with the Friends of Pella Community Center for several years. 8 years, thank you. So, and in the last couple of years, we were hired to, Shemmer was hired to work with the Pella Community Center ad hoc committee to develop plans and make recommendations for the rehabilitation of this project. And so, one of the main items for that was improved ADA accessibility, which means improved site entry, modern accessible restrooms, accessibility to all levels, including the gym. Another item is improved access control and sort of establish a main entry for the building. Currently, there's just sort of several entries into this building. 3 exterior improvements, new windows, doors, sunroof replacement, masonry repair. 4, gymnasium, have it repaired and reopened to the public for public use. Interior finishes, not throughout the entire building, but select areas. And then the replacement, improvement of mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire suppression systems throughout the building. And then a certified kitchen was also on that list. So that was sort of the ad hoc committee's recommendations, and that's what we move forward into the design as we develop our design development drawings. So here I'm basically here to talk today about what has changed from about 1.5 years ago. I believe we were approved to do the base bid plan with an alternate. So that went from, I believe, $6.7 million to about $7.8 million, as Mike was just showing you. And so I wish I had an image of the existing building. So the existing building does have an elevator addition approximately right here, very small. It was built in the 1980s, and that was the last time sort of a major renovation had been done on this building. And so when we were approved to do the base bid, the original base bid had no addition. It was essentially some site work and an interior remodel, handling all the mechanical, electrical and plumbing systems, but no addition. So when we got further in the development and working with the committee, it became apparent that alternate, there was a couple of problems with it. That alternate was a very large line item in the overall budget of the project. If the alternate wasn't able to be funded. So we were to skip the base bid. And the other issue is, essentially we're designing an interior remodel, and then we're also designing an addition. So it's sort of like we were designing 2 completely different projects, and we thought that would be a very complicated bidding environment. So you could basically have 2 different site plans, and then each floor plan would almost be completely different. So it became a very complicated project to bid that way. And then we also didn't think it solved the problems of creating this new entry into the building. It didn't provide access, ADA access to the gym level. So currently, where that elevator is at right now, it's very small. It's like, it can comfortably hold 2 to 3 people. It goes from the first floor to the third floor, it doesn't go to the ground floor. And so, when we went back, we said, well, if we could include the elevator, because this elevator that we're gonna propose is much larger, and it would go all the way down to the basement, which handle the accessibility, and it would also create a more inviting main entry into the building. And also there's some access control issues that I can talk about too, that, because we moved a lot of the offices into the main entry so they can see people coming and going into the space. So there's just a lot of benefits to trying to get that elevator main entry addition into the base bid. So I'll go to we can just go through the floor plans a little bit.
So, okay, so the base bid, go back.
Yeah.
So the base bid now includes that elevator.
Yeah.
The only alternate is the blue part there?
That is, yes, the alternate, yes, so the base bid now includes the main elevator addition. This is an alternate to that design, whereas before, the entire addition was an alternate. So we go to the floor plan. I'll start at the basement level. So currently, there is no ADA access to this basement level. When we were doing the base bid originally, we were planning on we were going to keep that elevator and try to modernize it, but then we were going to try to do another accessible lift somewhere on the interior of the building, which isn't ideal. We'd rather walk in the main entry and be able to get to all levels of the building. And so what we were utilizing in the current design, so the new elevator is here. There's currently an existing sort of mechanical shaft that's 10 feet wide by 10 feet tall. There's large ductwork running through there. Well, in this project, we're already replacing all the mechanical equipment. So that opens up this 10-foot corridor that we can use as an entry onto our gymnasium floor, which it's all at the same level here. On the ground floor, where our main entry is, we're putting the community director's office is here, so that as people enter the building, this becomes the main entry. They're able to view anybody coming through here. So this now just becomes a main entry into the building. There's no more, and these doors will be locked from the outside all the time. And then our elevators just right up there. The stair addition alternate would be able to also go all 4 floors. If the other portion of the alternate here to the stair, if we are able to build a stair, then we have an existing stair that we no longer would need. So that could also be converted into usable square footage for offices. We'd build floors in there, we'd demo the stair out. But that's now part of the stair alternate. Currently, on the second floor, we have the certified kitchen. So there's about $100,000 worth of rough-in for some of that equipment, the plumbing lines and power, and then the equipment budgeted for about $200,000 of kitchen equipment located on the second floor. So on all levels, we have new restrooms, new ADA accessible restrooms, just first floor, second floor, and third floor. That's all included in the base bid, along with everything else I described with mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire suppression systems, and I think that's about all I need to present here. I would be glad to answer any questions though. And I'm sorry I don't have a few more slides here. And if you go back to can I go back to the 3D? Yeah, 3D image. So, and this is sort of a working document here. So we were talking about doing a little bit more demo to the concrete stairs that are currently outside that are sort of a maintenance issue at the moment as well.
It appears that just the east of the original staircases is in a demo. Are you keeping the westerly one, and is that for egress, you have to have that? If I'm being clear, I'll call it the blue out staircase and the staircase demo alternate. Just that one's converted into usable space, the westerly one stays.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the exterior stair. Yes, the west, we would keep the west stair, yeah, because it would be part of the required egress, but if we do the new stair, then we essentially we have more than enough stairs, and the proposed new stair would meet all current building codes, whereas the existing stairs, the rise isn't quite right, the handrails aren't quite right. When you walk into the building, you're on a landing, so you're either going up or down, and it's a little dark. It's sort of a confusing. It's not a great main entry into the building. So what we're with this addition, this sort of resolves that. We've got a main entry. It's sort of from the outside. It's understandable that this is how you get up and down this building, and it's an inviting environment.
Can I throw in 2 cents?
Yeah.
And Spencer, that's also for large public gatherings, a Union Street player production that gives more access into and out of the building for those kinds of public events.
You said one of your goals early on, 8 years ago, was to make the main entrance more obvious, and now you have 3 entrances, or what would look like 3 entrances, unless there's some additional step that could go on the original doors that a lot of people just, I think they got the stairs would obviously help that a little bit, but.
Removing the stairs?
The orange stairs there, because I think habits die hard about that signage, and just an observation. It's a regulatory capture space, and but if you have to have the westerly stairs for egress, then it is what it is. But I was just curious, because one of your goals was, here's the entrance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the other rendering before this one sort of shows that a little bit better about how it makes it more of a main entry or a focal point to it, but you can go back to that, or who's controlling it. Well, I think it's the rendering that when Mike was talking about, when Mike was talking.
Right at first slide.
Yeah. But yeah, if we remove those side stairs up to the circular patio, I think it sort of prevent you from wanting to enter into those doors. And currently the doors are solid wood doors, and so it doesn't feel like inviting when you're on the street. But so we're hoping that the thought is that we have this large glass vestibule that's lit up at night. We have on the ground floor there'd be access to a public restroom from that level, from that entry.
Okay, so I saw the timeline was maybe get to bids by November. Is there a significant amount of work left to do from your standpoint to get to the bids?
We had almost completed our design development set, so we're about 50% done with design. I think that we have a few, probably about a month of just sort of ironing out what our final floor plan looks like, and then we will get our engineers involved into working out the construction documents. We also then have a checkpoint with our cost estimator at about 95%, where we're going to see where we think our design is at. And I think that process was, Mike had it up there. We had a 3 or 4 month process of just working out the construction drawings to get into this thing ready for bid. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, well, I see, it says if council approves the proposed design, floor plans, project be ready. when does council have to approve? There's still work being done in the design phase, I assume, what you just said.
We have
50% through the design.
The way I see it, we have a little bit of work to complete that design development set, because like when this elevator concept is changing that to the base bid, it does change the floor plan a little bit, but not a significant amount, so, I'm trying to answer the question, but.
Yeah, Mayor, let me jump in. What we anticipate is if we have a concept and approve the concept this evening, we're gonna turn these guys loose to complete their design development, go through the steps that John just stated. What we anticipate is somewhere in October, November, starting the legislative process on this project, which means we're setting public hearing dates, we're giving staff authorizations, solicit bids on this project. What we have listed up here is we think the construction bids are going to be solicited sometime right around November-ish for this project, which means if we're on that course, we could have a construction contract in front of the city council sometime in January of 2026. So could be October, could be November, right around there, depending on what we have. But we also have some details we have to iron out in the floor plan. There's also some discussions that are ongoing with the Friends right now. If you recall, when we walked through the base plan and alternates, there may be other ways that we're going to show some of these alternates. We're still in negotiations with the Friends on that as well. So we have some things that we have to do as well. But what we're here to talk about this evening is we want to make sure everyone approves the concept of what's being proposed for this base plan, that it includes the enhanced elevator addition in the base plan. And we have a rough concept of what this project is, as well as the time frame moving forward. And from our standpoint, we also want to make sure that we have communication out to people that currently have leases in the community center or using the community center, that if we're considering construction contracts, it looks like the activities would formally cease sometime right around December 31st of this year as well. So that's
okay. Yeah, that answers my question. So tonight, council, we need to, by consensus, keep the project moving forward, I guess, that's the question I was trying to get at.
Yes.
Because I don't know if it was lost on anybody else, but March 2027 is a completion date. May of 2027 completion date, we can have one great party in this community if we open both projects at the same time.
They didn't call that same.
So anyway, is there any concerns from council about keeping the project moving? So I think about 2.3 million or so over and above the city's 5.5, if I did my quick math. You were at $1.5 million.
We're at $1.5 million.
Yeah.
With the city's 5.5, we're at $7 million.
Okay.
The fully stripped down base plan with the elevator, we're looking at about $7.5 million. Another $500,000 to add the stairwell to it, and then another $250,000 after that for kitchen equipment, furniture, things like that. So we're committed to continuing to fundraise.
So we're not that far away.
Not that far away, and the city will be applying for a CAT grant. We hope that's going to help us move this forward even more quickly.
Okay, any concerns, council? Okay. Keep the project moving.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any updates on any of the other? I know you
Thank you.
kind of give us a review of what's on the agenda next, so.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, what we have here is listed projects we anticipate that we're going to be potentially discussing through the end of June. As we stated, we also will be talking about apron expansion projects at the Pella Municipal Airport as well. So those are the items that are on our list that we anticipate sometime in the next 30 to 60 days will be discussed, as well as the Pella Municipal Airport.
Okay. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Carlstone and Stryland, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Andy, please call the roll.
Carlstone?
Yes.
Dan Stryland?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Randall.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
We are adjourned.